Figured I'd give you guys something to look at while I'm talking about this. So, since I'm on my way to work and it's Sunday, how fun. It's called Sunday school when you have to work Sunday because, you know, it's no fun. Who wants to work on Sundays? But Saturday school, the reason I call it Saturday school if I work on Saturdays is because if I didn't get it figured out to work during the week, then I'm still learning, so I figured that I'm in school Saturdays and Sundays. So Saturday school and Sunday school, that's when you got to work during the week or on the weekend because you couldn't figure out how to get it done during the week. So anyway, mine was because trucks break down. I've had a lot of issues right now. Just unfortunate stuff that's happened. But anyway, the reason I want to talk to you guys real quick today is about base coats. Now, why am I showing you guys driving when I'm talking to you about base coats and stuff like that? Because really, I could show you all the pictures of paint right now and it wouldn't really help you understand what I'm going to talk to you about. So we might as well be driving, doing what I'm doing, and we'll take a look at the nice scenery here in Southern California. Talk about this. So, when do you need a high quality base coat? And when can you use a low quality base coat? And what is the difference? So that's what we're talking about today. The cheaper base coats can last just as long as a high quality base coat. So why would I ever want to use a high quality base coat? Well, there's a couple reasons why. Is one of them because your clear coat is actually your protector. Okay, the quality of the clear you use is the most important thing. The base coat that you use, let's talk about PPG because everybody understands PPG. PPG is everywhere. PPG has the Omni line. They also have the Omni line, and they have what's it called line? Deltron. Okay, and one of the differences is basically the Omni line has a lot more binder in it. Okay, so what's binder? Binder is like a clear base coat, and so binder basically makes the paint stretch out. It's like thinner paint, so it doesn't cover as good. So that's one thing. The other thing is the colors that they use to make it are not as pure. So if you're doing color match, a lot of times let's say you're doing a real complex color, especially like a pearl or something like that, a lot of times it won't be available in the cheaper line. And the reason that is because it's more expensive to manufacture. So when you're selecting your paint, let's say you're doing a complete repaint on your car and you're not as worried about it being exactly the right color and it's available in a cheaper line of base coat, you can get away with it, no problem. But if you're trying to color match a panel, sometimes, and depending on the color, it's more important to get the better material. So keep this in mind. Otherwise, hey, you could use the cheap stuff. So, but this is another thing to look at. So, if it's like, let's say you're using like a red or something like that, and you can shoot another red that's similar as a base coat. So let's say you go over to the paint store and you go, hey, I want to save some money, but I still want the original bitchin' red that looks original, and because the other one's going to look a little bit kind of dirty. It's not going to look quite as clean if I use the cheaper base coat, but I want to get it that nice red. It's like $150 a quart. So you're like, man, that's so expensive. What you can do is you can get like some mismatch if they have another base coat mismatch, and then base coat it, shoot the whole car out with base coat with another material, and then just shoot a couple light coats of the other material over that. and it'll get you your same color. So there's a lot of ways to get around that using the higher, to be able to use the higher end base and still get the, like if you have a color that's a pearl metallic, those aren't available usually in the cheaper lines. If you have a color, they usually only have a couple of different metallics. They might have 4 different metallics in a cheaper line. So, where they might have 6 in the better stuff. So those are the types of things that you're looking at, and then they have the really, really cheap lines like Nason or something like that all have the same size metallic. So you have these giant, looks like, what looks like metal flake in your paint, and maybe you don't want that, So those are just some of the things to look at on base coats that, it'll be the same color, but the metallics won't look right. It's going to look really like a giant metal flake. So it doesn't look quite like the original paint that you're trying to match or you're trying to use. So basically that's the big difference between the cheap line base coats and the base coats that are the high end. As far as lasting, they should last about the same. They might last a little bit longer. The color might not fade quite as quickly, even though it's under the clear. It shouldn't fade, but sometimes they do. But generally, if the color is exactly the same, and you can ask a lot of times your paint store if it's going to last a long time or not. So a lot of times they'll know if it's going to last. They'll just tell you, oh, no, that one, or not last, but it's going to be the right color. So keep that in mind if you're going, get the cheap stuff. Like for this truck, I'm going to put the cheap stuff on because it's a dirty color. It's not real clean. The metallics might be a little bit bigger, and I don't really care as long as it looks the same color. I don't have to shoot the jams. I'm good. So that's the way you look at it. All right. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Hope you get your painting done. Hey. Paint your car. Don't have your car looking like crap. Don't be looking like these guys from like that piece of crap right there, not painted, all faded out. Paint it up. Do your best. What will it hurt? That's the thing I say. Is what if you screw up? Well, you can always just sand it down to repaint it. All right. Talk to you in the next video.